Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing another suggestion from someone on the community post I uploaded a couple of weeks ago. It's from Gary Boy and he suggested a video on the levels which you need to sell top talents for realism purposes when you're a smaller club. I thought this was a super cool idea. I've done quite a few videos on how to keep transfers realistic in the past, but never one specifically on how to sell players and what sort of ratings you need to keep an eye out. So I thought this would be a cool video and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. It's definitely something that I've noticed when I've seen people's road to glories in the past. You'll have a League 2 team and it might have like a 75 rated striker up front. You'll be in League 1, they'll have an 80, and by the time they're in the Championship, they've got someone 87 rated. Now this isn't great if you're trying to keep your save realistic. In real life, League 2 has actually only ever had one player who's over 70 rated in the past 6 games. That was Kevin Nolan, who was 33, just dropped down from the Premier League, and he was actually player manager of Leyton Orient, so it's not really applicable on your career mode. In League 1, you rarely get players over 72 rated, and if you do, they're almost always there for the same reason. On FIFA 19, Aiden McGeady was relegated with Sunderland from the Championship, stayed and was 73 overall. This year on FIFA 22, Bannan has done the same thing, but with Sheffield Wednesday. He's a 73, he got relegated from the Championship, and now he's the best player in the league. In fact, there's only ever been one time where someone over 72 rated joined the league on a transfer, and that was Jermaine Pennant back on FIFA 17. He was 33 years old, and he probably didn't deserve the 73 overall he had at the time, but he joined on a free contract after his Premier League contract expired the season before. Hopefully these examples are giving you a good idea of what sort of ratings you should be looking at selling your players, but I'll go a bit more in depth into each league in a couple of seconds. The Championship, of course, is a higher standard than League 1 and League 2. The best players are usually around 78 overall. Rooney was boosted above this when he joined from the MLS to Derby, but Ruben Neves and Diego Jota were both this rating on FIFA 18, even though they both had 86 potential. On FIFA 19, there was a couple of players who were above this. Jack Butland was an England international after Stoke's relegation, so similar to McGeady and Bannan. Kiko Casilla joined Leeds after leaving Real Madrid and he kept his high rating despite not actually being that great in the league, and Jack Grealish was a massive name in the league, but he was still only ever rated 76. So really in the Championship you should be trying to keep your players around that 76 rating at an absolute maximum, with maybe 1 or 2 star players at 78. Don't misunderstand though, these are the absolute standout players over the last 6 years. There's been a couple in each league where they are this rating. What's actually average for each league? For example, the Championship, you'll be a 24.5-year-old on £10,000 a week with an overall of 62. In League 1, you'll be a similar age, 24.5, but on £2,500 with a 62 rating. In League 2, you'll be just over 60 rated, £2,200 per week wage, and a little bit older at nearly 25. And then finally in the Premier League, on average, you're going to be 72.5 overall, £43,000 per week, so a massive step up from the Championship, which is just under 10, and you're going to be again 24.5 years old. If you can keep the majority of your squad in this average range, so having a bunch of players in the Championship between 64 and 70 will keep them around 67 overall, which is fairly realistic for the league. Keeping your wages around £10,000 and keeping the ages around 24, then you're going to have a pretty realistic squad either way. But if you can do this while also making sure you sell players who are over these massive limits, so if you've got a team of 64 rated players in the Championship, you've got a player who's 80 rated, he's probably not going to want to stay at the club, so if you get any offers for him, sell him, and that's what you have to do to keep it realistic. If you are doing a road to glory, then it is super easy to get attached to your players, and maybe you can justify 1 or 2 of them if they have progressed up the league with you staying at the club. One of the examples that springs to mind of this happening is Mark Pugh, who joined Bournemouth when they were in League 1 after being really good in League 2. He joined them in League 1, progressed up the Championship and eventually played around 60 games in the Premier League. So he was more than good enough to be in the Championship when he was still playing in League 1, but he stuck with the club, they progressed like you probably will on your road to glory, and he was a pretty loyal servant until 2019 after joining in 2010. If you're using a team that isn't in the English leagues, then you might be a bit confused of what ratings you need to pick. It's pretty easy to find out really. If you go on FIFA and find the league on FIFA, just have a look at what sort of range the team ratings are in, because usually that'll average out the youth players and the really good players, so you'll have a pretty good idea of what sort of mix of talent you need to have. Another way to find out is watch one of my league guides if I've made one on that league, either for FIFA 21 or FIFA 22. Most of the time the overalls are going to be the same, and in every single one of them I suggest what sort of level each level of team should be at. Usually relegation level, promotion level, playoffs, championship, title winning, European level, depends what kind of league it is, but I'll do a suggestion of what kind of level you should keep your teams and players at if you want to make it a little bit more difficult. If you got any tips, I'd love to hear them, so feel free to message them on Discord or put them in the comments below, where I'll try and read every single one of them. But thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it makes your saves a little bit more fun when you are actually selling your players, keeping your teams realistic, and making it a little bit more difficult for yourselves, rather than having 80 rated players in League One, despite it being pretty fun to do. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Thank you and goodbye.